Hello everybody, it's Toast Bomb here, back from my long absence. And in my long absence, we got some pretty huge Halo 4 information, so here it is. We got tons of information on the specializations and how you're going to unlock them. Now if you don't know what a specialization is, it's basically 343's take on the Call of Duty perk system. Now most of these specializations you're going to unlock through their 1 through 50 rank system that they have in place. But once you reach level 50, you'll have an option between going down 8 different paths, each one containing an extra 10 levels. Each one of these paths will contain an armor mod, armor set, armor skin set, weapon skin, 4 foreground emblems, and 1 background emblem, as well as 1 visor color. Once you complete a path, you'll have the option to choose another one if you want to unlock the stuff in that path. Each one of these paths is unique and has their own themed playstyle to go along with them. Number 1! Wet Work. The Wet Work specialization will give you all the stuff that you see on the screen scrolling by right now, but also gives you an armor mod called Stealth. This armor mod allows you to dampen sound while you're sprinting so you don't make as much noise, and allows you to perform assassination animations quicker than you would otherwise. Also, Promethean vision will not see you quite as well. Instead of being this super bright person that they see through the walls, it's just your outline. So it's a little bit harder to see you, and someone who's not paying quite as much attention while using Promethean vision might miss you. Now personally, I don't think this armor ability is really going to be all that useful, but I do love what they're doing with it, because they're not making anything absolute. They're not making it something like you make 0 noise while sprinting or moving, so nobody has a chance of even hearing you. Or animation assassinations are instant. Or you don't even appear at all on Promethean vision. It's sort of stuff that less skilled players will get tricked by it, but trained eyes and people who know what to look for will be able to counter it from the skill and experience that they've picked up over the time playing the game. Number 2, Pioneer. Now the armor ability in this specialization, called Fast Track, literally does nothing but give you extra experience. And it's not going to give you extra experience like double XP, where like you kill somebody and normally you'd get 10 points, but now you get 20. You'll only be getting extra post-game experience, and only for the time that you're actually using it. So you can't just switch to a class with this armor ability right at the end and get just as much extra experience than if you had it on the whole game. It's for the amount of time, so if you keep it on the whole game, you're going to get tons of extra experience, but if you turn it on right at the end, you're going to be basically nothing. Now obviously, it doesn't really benefit you that much gameplay-wise unless all you're doing is just trying to power through the levels as fast as possible. Number 3, Engineer. The Engineer specialization has a really cool armor mod that allows you to see Infinity Ordnance drops before they actually come in, and see what those ordnance drops are going to contain, since they're random. Now this probably won't be the most useful thing for individual players, but if you're on, say, a team and you have one person use this and he communicates and calls out to everybody where it's going to be landing, what it is, if it's worth it, so they can go set up and dominate, that's going to be really useful. So it's something that I could see a lot of supports rolling with, because it will really help the team out so you can get those power weapons and dominate. Number 4, Tracker. This specialization has an armor mod that's basically one of the pro perks from Black Ops, I believe, that allows you to re-roll a care package, or in this case, personal ordnance. And they specifically say personal ordnance. They do not say infinity ordnance. So the ordnance drops that are just randomly happening around the map, you're not going to be able to do this with. But if you're on a playlist where you're able to get personal ordnance drops, you will be able to do it there. So you will be able to re-roll what you got in your personal ordnance drop. So if you got a sniper, you don't want a sniper, you want rockets, you can re-roll and take a chance to get rockets, or you might end up getting a scatter shot. In competitive play, for me, I'm assuming we're probably not going to end up using personal ordnance drops, so it's really not going to factor that much into what I'm going to be playing, but it can definitely be useful for a playlist where you will be using those personal ordnance drops. Number 5. Rogue. The armor mod in this specialization is called Stability, and will allow you to stay more stable while you're zoomed in getting shot, hence the name Stability. But I find this interesting that they say you will not flinch as much while you're zoomed in getting shot, because in previous Halo games, you got zoomed out when you were getting shot, and they said during the E3 build that they were going to add that in, where you will get zoomed out when you're getting shot, but they just hadn't added it yet. So it sounds like they've just changed it to make it so that if you're zoomed in, shooting somebody, and you get shot, you flinch a whole lot and your reticle flicks up in one direction. But while using this, that won't happen and you'll be able to stay on target slightly easier. I don't think this is going to change gameplay too much. It's just going to make longer ranged weapons like the DMR, BR, and Sniper quite a bit more powerful. You can't no longer just pepper them with some weapon from a long distance to get away, because they're going to be able to stay zoomed in and on target. This goes especially for the Sniper, because previously you could just shoot you once with the BR, maybe miss a few shots, but I'm kind of hitting you, so you can't get on target and hit me. But if a Sniper has this Stability mod, and they're zoomed in on a guy shooting with the BR and they're not getting unzoomed, that's gonna be a pretty powerful Sniper. But also, kind of to balance that, seems like what I've heard, the Sniper is actually quite a bit harder to use, so that's gonna balance it out as well. Number 6. Stalker. So the Stalker specialization will give you an armor mod called Nemesis that will allow you to see the enemy that previously killed you for a certain amount of time. They haven't said what amount of time, they're still tweaking that, but it will allow you to see them for a while. It'll give you a waypoint that is floating over their head. Now, a lot of people are freaking out about this, saying, oh, everyone's just going to use it in competitive play and it's going to be ridiculous because you're going to know where everyone is all the time constantly. But kind of, I think what makes or breaks this thing is the duration of how long it lasts. If it's like 10 seconds, yeah, that's pretty crazy. The average life is usually around like, below 30 seconds. So for most of your life, you're going to be able to see where that last person is, and people are constantly dying. You're pretty much going to see where everybody is constantly. But if it's like 2 seconds and just gives you a little notification of, oh, that guy's over there, and pretty much if you're a skilled player, you're already going to know where that person's probably going to be going anyways, then yeah, it's really not going to be that big of a deal. So until we know how long the duration actually is, I don't think anyone should be freaking out or worrying about this armor ability. I'm running out of voices. Number 7. Pathfinder. So the Pathfinder specialization gives you an armor mod called Gunner, which will make it so that your machine gun turret overheats less quickly, allowing you to stay at that high rate of fire for longer. This is machine turrets that are just on the ground on a little tripod or on the back of a warthog. And when you detach a turret and you're walking around with it, you will walk slightly faster than you would otherwise. Now again, for me in competitive play, we're not really using vehicles or turrets on the map, so it's really not going to affect the game at all for that instance of Halo. But for big team battle guys, I could see this being quite a useful perk, because a huge part of that is running around in vehicles and teaming up on guys who are just standing out in the open. And those guys are pretty much me, because I don't really like using vehicles. I like just running around the map, so when I try to play big team battle, I pretty much get pooped on by teams who run around with their convoy of warthogs. Number 8. Operator. Okay, so the final specialization is another kind of vehicle-oriented armor ability that will allow you to not be quite as effective from overcharged plasma pistol bursts while you're in a vehicle. So it'll still disable disable you for a very short amount of time, but even less than what it would do normally. And you can still get hijacked by other people, but the window of getting hijacked is a lot smaller than it normally would otherwise. So it'll be harder to hijack people and get them out of vehicles because they'll be recovering from those plasma pistol bursts much more quickly. Now that does it for all the different specializations, but it is very important. Keep watching the video because it's very important that I tell you this. You will not be getting all the specializations on day one unless you buy the limited edition of Halo 4. If you just buy the standard edition, you will only have access to Wetwork and Pioneer. And then in the later months, they'll slowly release more and more of the specializations until all of them are released. So if you don't get the limited edition, don't have the money or whatever, you will eventually get this content, but you will not have it right off the bat, and you'll probably get it, all this stuff, a lot faster if you buy the limited edition. But anyways, that is all for, wait, what? Rewind that shit. What is that? That's a new weapon. We haven't seen that before. That's right. New weapon. Right here, it is called the Suppressor. They don't go into any detail on what the heck this thing does, but it looks pretty badass, and that's a skin for it. That is also another new weapon called the Bolt Shot. They, again, don't go into any detail on what the heck this thing does, but that is also a skin for it and what it looks like. So yeah, 2 new weapons. But anyways, that will actually for reals do it for this time, for this video. If you liked it, you can leave a like or a comment, or if you just happen to really like this video for some random reason, you could try pressing that subscribe button because I make new Halo videos every day. But anyways, thanks for watching the video. See you tomorrow. Bye.